Very much, everyone, for tuning into another Australian Football Services podcast. As always, I'm Anel, the Operations Manager from Australian Football Services. Today, we're joined by Dom Gangemi. He's the head scout based in Australia, Australian head scout for Atalanta. And we're very, very delighted to have him here today. So, Dom, thank you very much for your time, mate.
Yeah, no worries. You're welcome. I'm very happy to be here with you guys. So, yeah. I'm your disposal. Let's start.
Wonderful. So, Dom, for those who might not be familiar with yourself, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your history in football?
Look, I'm a professional soccer coach. I'm a Pro UEFA I license. I'm graduated in Coverciano, Italy. You know, Coverciano is, I think, a very famous school of manager where all the coaches coaching top clubs has been graduated. So yeah, I've been lucky to have the chance to do my license there. I'm more than 30 years I'm involved in coaching in youth development. I coach any level from kids, youth, senior, and last year I celebrated my 500 games, official games as a coach. So I have a bit experience, and but I'm still a student, a learning student of the game. So that's my background. I play in Italy. Actually, then I play at a semi-professional level. Yeah, actually, I started playing 8 years old. I'm almost 50, so I can say I'm 32 years. I'm in the game. So
that's vast experience there. I think it's you would have seen almost everything in football in your time.
Exactly. Yeah, I stopped counting how many soccer games I have already seen. But anyway, that's not a problem for me. That's my qualification. And as you know, Ned, I have the privilege to represent Atalanta here in Australia, and also collaborating with the Atalanta to other international projects around the world. So I'm helping them to consolidate affiliations and collaborations with other clubs. And that's pretty good job.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Anyone who's lucky enough to work with any of the Italian big teams is always going to be in a very privileged position. So good on you for that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's a look. It's I think it's a reward of years and years of hard work and professional attitude. Be selected by certain clubs. It's not easy, because especially at Atalanta, they look at the person before your qualification or what your knowledge. The person is the first important things they're looking at. So you have to be a good person first, then honest and transparent with a very high ethical and things. So yeah, I'm happy, and I try my best every day to be good enough to stay with them. So it's a challenge.
It's working so far by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Now, Dom, could you tell us a little bit about your work based in Australia? So you mentioned that you represent Atalanta. Are you representing them in a scouting capacity or a coaching capacity as well?
Yeah, what I'm doing, I'm both, and we started this project before the COVID, and unfortunately the COVID, the problem with the COVID around the world just stopped us to. We went in Italy with a group of players from Perth in 2019. It was the very start, our first things from Australian. But then the COVID, unfortunately, we just put everything in standby. But slowly, I believe that things are going to be back to normal. So yes, and the plan is to obviously use myself to scouting and identify potential player that could fit Atalanta. But as I say that, and also be involved on development of this player. It's not just about it. And again, another good, important point is that, as I said before, and I'm helping the club through myself for clubs, NPL level, I League level. They would be interested to have a certain collaboration with Atalanta in terms of affiliation, technical affiliation, sharing methodology, and all this stuff.
Yeah, wonderful. Just going on the topic of scouts, most people are already aware of scouts in football, but what when you're speaking about scouting players, what are you speaking about specifically? Is there particularly certain aspects that you're looking for when you identify talent, and how important is this for finding talent?
Oh, well, look, the scouting process, it's a process. When I'm going watching, it can happen in different way, watching the games and working with players where obviously you can have more information about. So obviously the ability as a scout is to identify potential talent, and especially the potentiality of the player to become a certain type of player at a certain level. I'm lucky because I know which level we are talking about, because obviously I had chance to be exposed to that level, and also weekly through our scouting department, we're receiving all the games of our youth. So from under 12, from the Primavera, every week they record all the games and then all sending to us. So actually I'm watching 7, 8, 9 games every week about the youth. So I'm always be updated about what we're looking at, which competencies the player should have to play at that level. Yeah, scouting for me, it's the most important thing as a scout is, as I say, to identify talent, and especially identify if the player has the potential to learn, to learn, and in all the aspect of the game. Because if me, you, and all the people are in this chat now going watching a soccer game, and everyone look at the player they're doing the best performance. You say, oh my goodness, this player is exceptional. Look at performance. It's easy for everyone to see the player that can do, in that game, the best performance. But the eyes of the scout is different.
Yeah,
we have to be able to see what other people can't see. And sometimes, and the talent and the potential is hide behind very thin details, and especially in a country where the type of football is very physical. I want to say something. It's not a judgment, it's just a consideration. I'm not saying that it's bad or good. I'm just saying that it is what it is. And sometimes can happen then, some player, maybe, the smallest, or, the player that doesn't look that fast, that big, then got that little things that you can see, say, he's got it. He can be a player. That's the first step. Second step, as a scout, is obviously to inform and talk with the player in a nice way, not in a promising way. That's another important aspect of a scout. We must be professional to not sell the illusion on the players, on the parents that, okay, come with me, I was going to bring you there. It's going to be, no. It's to be a process where you have to also understand in that step if the players got the mental attitude to become a professional player, which is not easy, because this is for me is the key. And if you are scouting for a club, then obviously after a process where I can identify, have more information about the player, more information about parents, more information about the environment where this player is being exposed, and then I think the responsibility of the local club is to help this player to develop under the guidance of someone that can say, you know what, he needs that to improve this area, that area. And for me, then the final stage is to when the scout think the player is ready to go and do the trials for the club, then. But as I said, it's a process. And I always say to not trust when someone said, okay, you got it. all right, you be Real Madrid, you be Atalanta. That doesn't work like that.
Yeah, of course. The world is full of empty promises, as most parents unfortunately find out. Lots of kids too who get suckered into these promises.
Exactly.
Nothing comes of it. Yeah. Dom, you mentioned about scouting departments at clubs. Obviously, not every club can afford to have a dedicated scouting department. In your opinion, working with Atalanta, for example, how important is it for a club to have a scouting department, a dedicated scouting department?
I believe that a professional club, at a certain level, they must have a scouting department. And now with the technology, it's a lot of instruments that help clubs to overtake that problem that you have to send people here, send people there. So the club can do the first instance. They can have a look players around the country and around the city, because I believe city like Sydney, Melbourne, where there's 1 million people, 100,000 players, yeah, I believe that's important to have. Because, but not just that, as I said before, a club should have a scouting department and that works together with the football department.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, for me, look, Atalanta is an example of how many players Atalanta scouted around the world, and he makes, and they became after the top player, and then yeah. But look, so as you say, some clubs don't have resources, some clubs don't have vision, some clubs maybe don't trust, every club is different. But I believe that a good scouting department with a good football department, they're working closer to develop potential player, can bring result long term, not short term. In the long term, you know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. With your work with Atalanta here in Australia, are you focused on finding and developing players in the major cities, or is the work also extending to, let's say, some of the rural football areas, such as Bathurst and also rural Melbourne?
Look, at the moment, as I said, that we are in. Look, the project is. Let me say this: is still work in progress. At the moment, I'm in Perth, obviously, and then in the last 3 years, I went occasionally to watch play in Melbourne, Sydney. There was identified for some of the colleagues that works with me and just give me a hand, because I can't be everywhere. But
Yeah.
But now in the last 3 months, we at least we make an acceleration with Atalanta to try to make this project works be more. We decided to step in the project a bit more heavily. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's my plan to be more present also in the other city through association like yours and association with other people they are involved. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, that's the plan.
As you mentioned, it's all about long term, isn't it? It's not a short term game here.
No, exactly. Exactly. It's a long term process. It's a long term plan. And look, to be honest, I'm fighting. That's the right word. I'm trying to fighting with the mentality of the people there, of the coaches, of some clubs and technical director there. I'm trying to explain with all my strength that we need to invest on players. We need to believe that we can build a local player, and that's for me is the goal. And I believe that it's such a lot of talent in Australia because the environment help to grow talent. We got facility. A lot of cities got obviously weather condition. They indoor, outdoor, and and clubs with. I think we got everything. So we got university that can offer a lot of service in terms of strength and condition performance, and we can have access to a lot of sport facility, which it's huge for football. But I think that I believe that we should start to come together and start think out of the box from coaches' perspective, club perspective, president perspective. So what our vision? What is the vision for Australian football?
Yeah,
absolutely. We can produce players. We can, absolutely.
Just a complete side note here, Dom. When you're talking about difficulties and having conflict between coaches and obviously technical directors, is it a matter of them being afraid to lose players, or is it just a matter of them not wanting to invest in the development?
Look, I'm not saying all, but there's still for me a little bit of not the ball, but it's more for me selection than the identification. Try to say in these two words. So I've seen all through the years I'm already here in Australia. And every year I can see clubs doing selection, not identification, which means, okay, this year I'm going to select through trials the best player of their age to win the competition. That's for me, it's not just affect the local football community, but that's for me affect the whole country community, because we keep going to not having a long-term vision to say, let's develop player, let's build player, let's go through what they need to become. Look, I'm not saying I would say just first goal of a club should be, let's produce player for our own senior team.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Absolutely great. Then if some of these kids got potential, well, beautiful. And clubs should give them a different pathway. I-League, if we're talking about NPL, I-League, if some I-League already, better than me, that some I-League clubs already sold player in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
It's Adelaide and Perth sold Italiano, Adelaide sold, so which means that, but I believe with the facility, with the capacity, with what we go here, we can do more.
Yeah,
that's my point of view.
It's a point of view a lot of coaches, I think, would share with you. I myself coach in the NPL as well, and I can definitely agree. I think that trying to find talent through an identification process, as you say, it's usually a lot easier than it is to have your trials and, let's say, select 3 or 4 players out of 30 or 40 who might turn up. And players tend to fall into those holes where they don't know what to do with themselves if they don't get selected, and then their development goes nowhere, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to also consider one important aspect of this selection and development. As I said, if we select player to win now, obviously the physicality, the strength of the component that make result now make a difference.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I think club should have more understanding about what is the chronological age, relative age, in terms of, we have kids in late development. They're absolutely amazing, but unfortunately they cannot make the selection because they're just not ready yet. Yeah. And I know this is going to be public, and I'll use this also to share and send message, because I'm a dreamer. So for me, any opportunity for me to share my vision, my passion, I want to take. Now, I would say, you got NPL team, all right? You are coaching under 14, like an example. Okay, let's make one team to selecting to win now, which is fair, because the result is important. Club needs to have a result. I'm with that, because everyone play for win. But in the same time, making a big team, making a team with late development players. So you have another 14 that play NPL, and then make another team, parallel, and we call the late development, where you can put the kids born in the last 3 months of the year, kids in late development, but not just physical. It's kids just maybe are in late development just because for mental, because they're not psychological ready through emotion and for technical. But if you can understand that, you will see, because I'm talking about things happening. It's not something that I discovered. So it's already done. And 60% of the Belgium national team, they won the European Cup,
Yep.
Was made with player. They did the national team B a youth level. It was playing late development, which means that in the long term, that player become better than the player that was playing in the A team. So that's just to give an example for me. There is a solution.
Yeah. I think clubs just need to be brave to adopt such a solution, because as you said, they're sometimes so focused on results that it's difficult to look a little bit further into the future. But it is a hard thing to implement, but it is a good way forward.
Yeah, look, but as I say, us people they are in the football, people like us that we are dealing with young generation, I think that we got the responsibility, the social responsibility to do our best to make these kids their journey on football exceptional, not normal, exceptional. So we got the responsibility. I feel this responsibility on my skin. You know, every kid that I approach, I have to try to give my best. So that's, I think, is the message that I want to give to coaches and people in football here.
Absolutely, and it's a great message to send out. So thank you very much for that. Dom, have many Aussie players gone on trial with Atalanta?
Look, at the moment, as I say, we have obviously, I can say big names. They went from Australia. They play in Atalanta, like Economidis. He came through Atalanta youth. Then we had Aja Madaski was another Pearl boys. He went in Atalanta. Then obviously big name like James Troisi, Bobo Vieri. It's it's few of those of the gold generation that went through the Atalanta. Then we had years ago a couple of kids. They came from Australia. One played for Sydney, but at the moment I can't. Asked the club to give me the name, but we couldn't have a name and surname. But that's that's happened already. And as I said, what is now is that I'm slowly trying to build, like say, work on profile of player here in Perth, and I'll be start with you guys and other institutions to start to put together names and potential player where we are trying to make that happen. To look, the goal is to bring them as much prepared as possible to the trials. Then obviously, guys, that's can happen, cannot happen. But I believe that it's prepared. I always say to the players, you working hard, be prepared. Look, it's a different way in football to achieve the final goal. It doesn't matter if you cannot pick from one club or other club, but if you still believe in yourself, well, one day or another will happen. So, but yeah, we are at the moment we have, as I say, a number of players that are under my guidelines that I'm trying to help. That's the right word, help.
Absolutely. Now, having been involved with both identifying and developing players for Atalanta specifically, can you tell us about what kind of players Atalanta looks for? Is there a specific Atalanta style player, or is it more just a combination of factors?
Well, one of the most important things that they often repeating when I had a chance to talk with people there, coaches, head coaches, and Atalanta, they always told me they got the goal to produce in Serie A players. So that's the goal. So it doesn't mean, so when a boy went through the system in Atalanta youth, the goal of the club is to produce player for the Serie A. That doesn't mean it has to be Atalanta, could be another Serie A club. You know what I mean? So, because have to, when you develop a player, let's say up to Primavera, 18, 19 years old, then obviously he's got specific competencies. You know what I mean? So he's a that player. Let's say striker, number 9, is maybe tall, strong, good in the air. He's got that specific ability. Like maybe with the coach the team's got in the senior at the first team, it doesn't fit the philosophy of the coach of the moment. So, but if he's still a good player, he can fit another club with a different philosophy. So maybe they're looking at different type of player. So my answer to your question is the Atalanta looking of developing player that could be potentially become a Serie A. So the competence is what type of ability. Obviously, it's like any other top European academy. It's been more specific for role and position. Obviously, if you are telling me, does Atalanta look for a goalkeeper tall 1 meter and 50 centimeters? Say no. Yeah.
Of course.
But like, but as I say, the components of the player has to be adapted, especially at that age, to the specific role. So yeah, but generically, Atalanta looking for obviously a player that have the ability to become a professional player, especially if they go there at youth level when they go younger. So they try to get modeling to shape him to the type of player. Obviously, if we identify or we scouting a player from here to there, at the moment, let's just say an example. The club say to me, Don, we are looking for a center back. Okay, obviously that, of course, if we're looking for a center back, I'm trying to now to find the type of player that maybe physically can tick the boxes in terms of, okay, how tall is he, the speed, you know, the acceleration, agility. And then obviously, if you can identify this player at early age, you can also say, okay, let me see your dad, your mom and dad. Okay, you will be 6 foot, perfect, done. You can be physical talk, you can be a profile. But then obviously we need to look up the other things, you know, if you have to be able to play the football, play up from the back, confidence, touch, body position, awareness, and all the individual tactical component, team tactical component. So that's the way having a coach at a young age that can coach you that things, that's, I believe, that can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. That all absolutely makes sense. Now, on the topic of players moving to Europe, we've heard a lot about, let's say, Aussie-based players who don't have a European passport really struggling to get a role or get a chance over there. Do players with Italian passports or just European passports have an advantage?
Look, if we're talking about Atalanta, of course. If you're talking about Atalanta, it's Italian clubs, European clubs. Look, no, every country's got different rules. But I would say the still opportunity. It's still opportunity for players that don't have European passport to be selected in European club, because every country's got its own regulation, and we're talking about professional level. We need to also don't forget that that's a different level of championship in Italy and Europe, in Spain, in the east of Europe, and so. And every country's got different regulation. But if we're talking about Atalanta, obviously, if you have a European passport, doesn't matter if it's going to be Italian or whatever, obviously you have an advantage. But another things I want to say, very important, we have also to consider the FIFA regulation in terms of youth transfer from different confederations. So, and I'm I want to take advantage of this opportunity to highlight this point. So remember what we said at the beginning, parents, some people, they just, say, I'm a scout, I can bring you up there. We need to stay careful, because that's a regulation that before the 16 years old, it's a very tough regulation. And also what I recommend for me is to, I always say to Aussie player, develop here. In the best way you can, develop here. There is opportunity here. If you cannot, look, if you, I'm saying general, if you live in Perth, you can find your solution in Sydney or in Melbourne. If you really believe, you find a way. I say, develop here. Finish your education here. Finish your high school, okay? And then if you believe, if you feel at 16, 17 years old, after you finish your education on the high school, that you have that feeling that you want to make it. You still love the game. You're ready to sacrifice your family, and do everything for your career. Then it's the right time. And look, I can give you, there's a boy that from Perth now, he went to play in Melbourne in NPL. Oh wow, we were happy because for me, for me it's a big step ahead. And that's what I say. So it's always solution. So I always say, guys, you don't have the passport. Don't get desperate because that's a solution. That's Asia now. Don't forget that. Asia.
That's my voice.
Can you hear me?
Who's this guy?
Maybe it's something's got. We need. Okay.
Who's that?
He's talking live.
No, it's okay. Maybe we should. So that's football, especially makes a big improvement also in Japan, in Singapore, in Malaysia, in other countries where it's already professional. You know what I mean? So let's just say general. But go back to your question. Yes, if you achieve to go and play in Italy, if you have Italian passport, European passport, yeah, make a huge difference. Yes, much easier.
Beautiful. We've heard a lot about the youth development at Atalanta. I mean, anyone who has even a rudimentary understanding of football knows that they have a very, very high quality youth setup, and youth development is a massive part of who they are. What makes the Atalanta setup so good? Can you give us a little bit of information about the structure and just the setup in general?
Look, I think the secret. Look, I think the secret of this club is the environment first. Okay, obviously, Zingonia is the center where Atalanta, the training center, it's called Zingonia in Bergamo, which is the beautiful things there is there. The kids, if you play for Atalanta, you are 5 years old. You actually train in the same facility where the senior, the first team training. So you can see if you are a little boy, 6, 7, 8 years old, you can walk around and see the 16, the Primavera. And if you like, you can see some senior players come from, you know what I mean? So, and the atmosphere and the facility, of course. Look, every club has got good facility. So I always say, question is if every club has got good facility, everyone does, and set up. Look, methodology, yeah, some clubs go different, but at the end of, we're talking about high professional everywhere. What I think make a huge difference in Atalanta is the environment, is the family environment where you can feel inside that center how much they take care about their player. And that's make huge difference on player development. So you can develop, another thing is important. If people develop in a nice, safe, and enjoyable environment, it's happening in football, in work, in school. And I can't say that how you can learn a new job in a bad environment. Impossible. So that environment is special. That environment makes people feel part of something. That for me is the secret. Then if you ask me about what they got, the club's got now in the last 2 years, make huge investment of youth. They build the new facility just for the academy. Laboratory, high technology in terms of strength and conditioning performance, and obviously have the chance to play with the best of the best. And now this Atalanta became also a reality as a first team, because it's the third year in a row they achieved the Champions League, which is, but don't forget that Atalanta is 40 years they producing player.
Yeah.
So maybe people now start hearing about Atalanta, but Atalanta, it's been 40 years they're producing player for any other team or for their own team. So yeah, I would say the point of difference is the environment, which make this club special. And there's some people in the room in the Zoom company, they had the lucky to come with me 2 years ago from Perth, and I think that experience. There wasn't a training experience. We brought some players and parents, different age, because I think that was an experience that changed their life, because it was a lifetime experience. And a lot of kids, when they come back after that, they start to see football different. And that's for me was the best things I can do for them. and just show them a love. And I believe they can also say and give me a ride. Say yes, Dom. What you feeling in there? The atmosphere. That's fantastic. I'm still get excited. I'm still excited about that experience because I'm still excited for them. It was great.
From a personal note, a couple of years ago, I went over to Germany. We went with I took a little an indoor futsal team over to a competition, and I absolutely know what you mean when you talk about environment. I think just from the team and from the parental environment and the support and just the family, everyone gathers around to support them. And you can tell the development is incredibly different between our Aussie kids and when you go over there, it's just massively different.
And look, it's another thing that we have to consider that, of course, the European, South American, and other country culture in terms of football. Look, that kid get exposed to football 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So they hit football, they breathe football, and it's football everywhere. That's make a huge difference. But my point is, if there is a boy or girls in Australia, he loves the game, and he can develop here in an environment where the football is not the first sport, I can see him or her special, because he is living his dream in a country where football is not the first sport, which for me is fantastic. It's the point of difference, because in Italy, everyone play football. Yeah. Let's talk about everywhere, easy. Yeah. But what about here, where people, they go other sport, they make, and that's why I say we have to believe that here we can make it.
Absolutely. Dom, as a coach as well, have you noticed any difference between the development of players at Australian academies compared to those in Europe?
Well, look, from my experience, what I've seen so far, there is a difference, of course, in terms of structure, knowledge, in terms of coaches' knowledge, in terms of having more chance to, especially in a country where it's more coaches, more people that play soccer, that they become coaches, so that's helped. But the difference, I don't know. Look, I don't believe that kids are different. I believe that from, let's say, from mini rules level 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then 12, 13, I believe that it's not different. Then what happened then from 13 to 16, which is for me is the phase of the development where kids learn the game. Because one thing is to, you call whatever you want to call, set program and sub, all these names, right? But they the same soup. Okay, so that 9 to 12, the kids should learn the technique, yes, and how put the technique in a game context, in a situational environment. Then for 13 to 16, I would say they have to start to learn the game, how play in a team context. This is, for me, is the point of weakness on 80. I'm going to say I-League. I can't talk about I-League. I don't know a lot of clubs in NPL clubs, but I believe that the weakness is that to not have to not give to them the chance to learn how play in a team contest, the tactical element, which make a huge difference when you bring these kids from here to overseas. And that's the point. Strongly, good footwork, everything's, when you put them in that football environment, the football game contest, they feel lost.
Yeah.
Because and this is for me the difference between between here and there. Obviously, but as I said, we coaches can learn. There is opportunity. Coaches can learn. I'm not saying maybe I think there's a lot of good coaches in Sydney, in Melbourne, they have experience, knowledge. But talking as a coach now, a coach has to start to think out of the box. So we did not, Dom did not invent football. You did not invent football. Football is there for 200 years. So we need just to think out the box and allow people to help me, you, in terms to improve our coaching. Because we are there for our player, not for ourselves.
Yeah.
And if we have this mindset, I want to get better every day. And because I want to make my player better, you know, and that's the difference. I believe that all the institution, federation, club, we should try to work more together and create this type of, you know, even to make the environment and the understanding of the game, to make a better player for our football as well, not just for overseas.
Yeah, definitely. As a coach yourself, do you advocate for coaches playing, let's say, certain players up? So if they have the ability to play, let's say if they're playing under 13s, but they can play physically, can play under 14s or under 15s, do you advocate for the coaches putting them up in those years?
Yeah, look, as I said, if we considering that the player development is an individual process. So, and the coach, the technical director, the club has to have the capability to understand which type of environment suit better that type of player. So if you have an under 12 that chronologically is a 12, biological is a 14, because maybe it's already 20 centimeters taller than anyone, stronger mentally. For him, keeping him with the 12, we not do the right things for him. So we need to put him in the right environment. So there's the one thing is important that I always say to coaches that have a chance to work with me and say, the ability have to match the competition.
Yeah.
And equal engagement. If you are too good and you play not in the right competition, you're not engaged with the game,
yeah.
Which means not development. But if you think this out of the box and say, how many times I went to watch games under 14 and the striker was, for me, ready to play under 18, and by himself, he destroyed the opponent. And my first thought was, why this guy is playing here? Why not play in under 17, 16, whatever? And then obviously the answers come by himself, because obviously that coach wants to win. And for win the game, he keeps his boys in that competition. And again, he's not working for his development. He's working for himself.
Absolutely.
Which is a youth level should not happen.
Yeah, it's definitely counterintuitive to actually developing players, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe that look, that's happen everywhere. Look, identify the effective age of the player and understand obviously where is the best place for him to play. That's the key of his own development. But always keep monitoring him, because that's not only the physical aspect. Make sure the psychological aspect. Maybe he's not mature enough to play 2 years up.
Sure, absolutely.
Maybe we need to help him to go through emotion, you know. But as I said, look, if the clubs, parents, coaches works together, that's a magic formula. But what I can see in a lot of clubs, that's no connection. Some coaches are unapproachable. You cannot even talk to them, because otherwise, oh my God, why I can't talk to you? Yeah. So I'm a parent, I want to talk to you. Give me feedback. I don't want to interfere with your job. I want to just understand what I can do for help this boy, because, you know, parents are part of the process, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Main part of the process.
Dom, on the topic of Europe, many people speak about the general cultural differences between between Europe and over here in Australia. Is there such a difference? Is there such a culture difference? I don't mean culturally between two nations. I mean in terms of football. And if there is a difference, why do you think this exists? Is it just how players approach the game?
I think the difference is in the pathway. I believe that unfortunately, when you grew up in Europe and as boys or girls, and you start playing football at 7, 8 in your local team, and you always can see a step forward. Maybe I get picked in that club is in a better division. Then I can get picked in another club, and the boys and the players, boys or girls, grew up in a challenging environment, which I can't see here. So what happened? You play MPL here, even if you play in a top club of the state. I'm talking about Perth. If you play in the I-League club, but you actually play with the other MPL club, so you're not playing in different competition. You play in the same competition with the player they play in another club. So I believe that things can affect, especially on I don't know, in the mentality, in culture. So I cannot see the step forward. I cannot see that, and something that pull down a bit the players' development. I think that that's the difference. Okay. Because I remember when even now there's a player that get picked from professional club from a community local club in Sicily. Let me say, Atalanta. We recently they pick a boys at 15 years old, whatever, 16 years old from Sicily. All right, in a local club. And I'm saying that boys, he grew up in that environment. So it means that even the small club with the not big facility can produce a player ready to step at 16 years old in Atalanta, AC Milan. But because the hope to get scouted, the hope to achieve that level, they drive you and they give you that motivation. That's, I think, is the huge difference.
Absolutely.
Because a player here, a 16 years old playing MPL, if he's not going I-League, tell me what? Yeah,
what's he gonna do? Yeah.
What is the next competition? It's not. There's not. That's why. I believe that we should try to find a formula to really make a better competition. To really make, I don't know. I'm saying to really challenge this player to step on the next level, because otherwise, as I said before, it's a certain of slow down the process rather than give an acceleration. Yeah,
absolutely. Now with Atalanta and how they view Aussie players, do they view Australian players in any certain way? Well, I've had conversations with a few coaches in other European countries, and what the common trend is they view Aussie players as hardworking, technically gifted, but just lacking that football sense. Is that the same with Atalanta?
Look, that's obviously at the moment for what I know, we did not have. We can't say that because at the moment I'm working on try to start to bring player with the right mentality, with all the as much as possible close to what they're looking at. But what you said is right. It's a problem about, as I told you before, player from here, they go overseas, they go and try overseas, but what they're missing is the tactical component. It looks like they don't know how to play because wow, for many reasons. It's not many reasons. Could be coaching, could be competition, could be a lot of factors. But look, but it's nothing that we cannot change. It's nothing we cannot change. So I don't want to set this like a statement. The Australian player cannot make it because they cannot play at that level. All right. Yes, maybe Yeah, but if we work towards to help create certain how to make them better and understand better the game, I believe that we can have more players to achieve professional level, even overseas. Beautiful. Which is the goal for everyone. Everyone dreams to go and play.
I mean, that should be the goal.
It's more important. Just that. Where football is more important.
Of course.
Everyone.
Now, Dom, with companies like Australian Football Services, how do you see them fitting in with football developers like yourself?
Oh, it's a great, guys. You are doing a good job. I had a chance to follow you and knows you and see what you're doing. Look, obviously, what you're doing actually, you're doing a great service for club. You're doing great service for parents because you are doing the hard work to, to go in and watching player start to tell these people, say, mate, you got potential, but let's start work on, and then obviously, and I am your professionalism in terms of try to help people and see what you can do for them. Look, as I say, that scouting and development have to go together. It's like wife and husband. It can't be separate because I can't see scouting and at least scout the next Messi. You're going to any in a Norway soccer pitch and you found the new Messi. He's got evidence. You are the lucky man on the world. You won the lotto.
Yeah.
But if we think about how many players got talent and how many players got wasted through the process because they did not find anybody to just tell them, Johnny, you got potential. Then your job, my job, is to make him aware and say, her, then it's up to him, it's up to her to work hard to achieve his goals. But it's I'm 100% believe that that's a great service and I'm saying that you have to keep going because that's great.
Thank you very much for that. That's to hear someone of your caliber and someone of your, obviously your reputation say that it obviously means a lot and puts a lot of kind of emphasis on that the company is heading in the right track and we are focusing on the right things, because you do hear many people and many companies unfortunately taking advantage of kids' dreams and the dreams that their parents share with kids as well.
And you have to look. I can tell you, I don't know a lot of people in Australia in Perth because obviously, I'm not here for, I'm just my 4th year. But if I know 100 people, maybe 5 people knows that I'm doing this job for Atalanta. I'm doing scouting because I don't like to say that's for me is not my. This is for me is not my point of say I'm scouting because in certain way I want to try to get you thinking about how maybe Doms can do this for me. That's not the point. I got this. I want to do this professionally. I want to make sure that use what is my obviously connection, knowledge, and terms to help. But as you say, it's important. This job has to be done professionally because we cannot play with the dreams of kids and parents. We need to tell always the truth and tell what people don't want to hear. Say, this is your weakness. You have to work heavily in this. And if you improve this, you could have chance. And then, and I think our slogan should be, we have to work to make the best version of you, the best you can be. And obviously, you guys, a scouting company need help from people that got expertise in development because, as you say, that you're scouting and then working together, we can absolutely help these kids to achieve their goals.
Absolutely. Now, Dom, a few final questions. Now, this is usually the time where we look for advice for young players, and obviously we're going to look for young coaches and scouts as well. Starting off with any advice you would have for young Aussie players who dream of playing in Europe. So that could be in Italy or anywhere else. If you were to give them some advice, what would that advice be?
Oh, well, the first advice that I feel that's come from my heart is follow your dreams, and don't, because Australia's got this system of trials, and I always say don't allow anybody to tell you that you're not good enough. That's always repeat to every player, I have a chance. So it's only one person that can tell you that you're not good enough. It's you.
Yeah.
So no coach, no technical director, no Dom, nobody. So the first advice to the player, say work hard, be professional. If you want to become a professional soccer player, it's hard. It's a lifestyle. It's not just good enough in the pitch. Be humble. Be compassionate. Have a compassion with your teammate. Be good with the people that have your talent. Show kindness in the pitch. Be a teammate. Help the coach to pack up and put a stop on the car. And work on yourself. Take care of your body with nutrition and good sleep, rest, nutrition, and don't believe always that the club, the neighbor, the club next to yours is better than where you are now. Try to stay in one club if you can find. Try to stay with the people that believe in you, that give you the chance to develop, and that's for me. It's the main things, and try to find good people that can lead you and give you good advices. And then to the players, I say, guys, it's a long way. It's a long way, but good things happen. Good things happen because you work out for that. Things happen fast. You lost fast. So yeah, the main advice is just be yourself and believe, and yeah, that's be professional. 360.
Absolutely. That's fantastic advice. Now, advice for coaches. So if you were to give advice to coaches who dream of maybe coaching or maybe scouting or associating themselves with a club in Europe, what would that advice be?
So you got time until midnight?
Yeah.
Because if you touch a time, I can't talk. Switch off the things, because when I talk about this stuff, I go, I can't handle my passion, and I can't. Sometimes people say, "Oh, Dom, you're talking. We go 1 hour, stay 1 hour, because otherwise." Coaches, well, coaches. Be a coach is a privilege. It's a privilege because, and have the privilege to shape and model human beings, and I always say, coaches, you are the guardian of the dreams. So you are the person that hold the dreams of your player. It doesn't matter what age you coach. So my advice to coaches is study the game. Study the game. The game, it's not about football. And I'm saying a quote, it's not my quote. It's Mourinho said in one quote, say, who knows only about football, don't know anything about football. Football is not just football. Football is psychology, philosophy, pedagogy, and knows about how the body works and social relationship. You have to have knowledge in all these things to understand communication. And so coaches, study the game. Don't copy. Don't copy subjective opinion of others. Don't, but work on create your own knowledge, and that means study. That means practice. Your team is your team. What you download for YouTube in terms of exercise and stuff, maybe work for that team that you put on YouTube, but maybe it doesn't work for your team. So observe your players. Observe, not watching. Observe and watch how they play. Watch what they need, and then design and create the environment for your players to learn.
Yeah.
And found a mentor, whatever. Could be user channel. It could be Dom in Perth, could be another coach in England, could be any platform. Study the game. Listen to people that don't tell you their own opinion, but they show you the evidence of the game, you know, and because they study the game. So that's for me. And then if you want to, and dream bigger, but if you want to become a professional coach, it's a long way. Don't try to accelerate the steps, you know, and things come with experience. You know, these are the rules of the 10,000 hour. They was talking about the talent and stuff, but it's happened with the coaches as well.
Yeah.
You can't be an experienced coach after 1 year, 2 years. Especially here where a lot of coaches start coaching their own son at 5 years old, and they stay with him up to the 16. So they coach for 15 years, 1-5, but actually they just experience one different year every time. So actually they don't expertise nothing, because to be an expert coach, you have to specialize maybe in one area, because coach a senior is not like coach a youth.
Yeah, definitely.
And as a coach, is recognize your weakness, work on your weakness, and make sure that you are role model, but not with the words, with your action. If you don't want your players coming late, you come in time. You don't want your players marking, don't mark. And young don't need words, need action from us.
Yeah.
And that's my advice for coach. And study and learn as much as possible, and be humble. Be humble. I had luck in my life when I went to my one of these anecdotes. When I went to my course in my license, professional license cover channel, and I was with dinner time, and there was Gianni Rivera. Gianni Rivera was a legend of football in Italy, legend. And if one, I don't know, 10 years ago, someone told me, Dom, you get a chance to see and have talk with the type of person, I would say, nah, that's not going to happen. And he was sitting on the table, eating for himself. I was with my colleague, and he said, well, Dom, you should go and ask him if we can sit with him. So no way, I'm not going to do that, because I'm very shy. No. So actually, we went there. We say he was the president of the technical staff. Or they said, well, president said, guys, come on and sit down and say, I'm just going to order a bottle of wine. But just to make a long short story, in terms of a person that won everything in football, a legend, the humility he had to talk with us. We spoke 4 hours about football. He tell us a lot of anecdotes about his career. And then he asked me in person if we can meet him to the hotel, because it was midnight. And he said, you took me here, took 4 hours. Now you come with me to the hotel, because I don't feel confident to go by myself. So I don't know, I can argue and bring on my pride, you know. But I say, if people that reach the top of the top, they're humble enough to talk with others, why certain people they coach in NPL or league, they think they are God, they don't even talk to you?
Yeah.
Why? So be humble, and things happen.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice. And I mean, I've taken a lot, just as a coach myself. I've definitely taken a lot from that. I think it's the common theme that a lot of coaches that I speak to who have worked with professional teams, they always say, stay humble and keep learning, because that seems to always be the focus of what makes for a good coach.
Yeah, look, if I'm dedicate if you get a chance to watch on my desk here, it's full of book, pipe and stuff. Every day I go back and try to understand, okay, let's go and read this, read that, and try to learn how I can be better and these things. And another thing is important. Another thing I would say about the parents, so we can close the circle. We spoke about players and coaches and parents. Mm-hmm. And an advice that I say to the parents, say, guys, let your son or daughter to live their journey. So they need you as a support. Don't get involved too much. Don't put pressure. Don't try to. There is a beautiful things there I heard about. Don't be a curling parent. You know the curling, the sport, they got the ball and people go with the sweep to clean up.
Yeah.
So don't be like you want to clean the things in front of your son. Let him suffer. Let him go on the bench. Let him, go through all this emotion without getting involved. That's the advice, and be supportive, and I know we try to help our children, but it doesn't work like that. And I've seen in my career a lot of players at youth level ruin the opportunity for the parents.
Yeah.
So lead them to enjoy the journey. You know what? We can just support, because it's not up to us, it's up to them. So as much even we try to force things, that's not going to happen. So don't try to, okay, your son wasn't picked in the first team. Don't go and argue with the coach. Doesn't matter. You go pick. Next time, work harder. You get picked next time. Go and play in another competition. And be supportive, no negativity. Because play have to enjoy, guys. Have to enjoy the game. And it's a lot, too much. And that's, for me, is important. And the parents have to understand.
Wonderful. And lastly, Dom, we're going to ask about your plans for the future. Do you see yourself working with Atalanta long term, or would you be open to other clubs if they came searching for you?
Well, look, my role with the club is obviously, as I say, for me, it's a privilege. I'm doing stuff for them, but obviously, that's not what I feed my children. You know what I mean? So, yeah, obviously, now this is my 6th year across a little bit Melbourne, then back in Italy, Perth, in Australia. I believe that I reach enough experience and knowledge, even my language. If I think someone's can chance to listen to me now and remember when I came the first time in Australia, I learned English here. So I never studied. I came 7 years ago without knows one words, and I'm still learning English. And I'm apologize with people if maybe they don't understand some of my spelling. Well, I'll do my best.
Yeah.
My future, to be honest, I feel ready. I believe that, to be honest, I believe that I deserve an opportunity, because I believe that I can give a lot to the game. I can give a lot. But I'm not talking about my qualification. I'm not talking about my connection. I'm talking about me as a person. 25 years I'm studying the game. I believe I can be a resource for any professional club that wants to change. They want just to have a person that love the game and do more than what he's supposed to do. Yeah, I'm definitely looking for opportunity. They're not clash with Atalanta, because obviously Atalanta knows that I have to what I'm doing. I'm doing consultants for club. I'm doing group session and other stuff. But obviously, I hope that for me the future could be maybe in some professional environment where I can express my potential. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Well, as I say, if it have to happen. I'm still learning. I'm still studying. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm almost 50, so hurry up.
Well, you sound like a very patient guy. So I think once the work call comes in, I think you will definitely find the ideal fit.
Yeah, but the problem, as you know, that unfortunately, or fortunately, if you don't know people, it's a connection. People don't know you. Who's going to give you trust? If you send the resume around, people, yeah, it's all right, but okay, put in, yeah. But that's what. But I believe that if you keep believing in yourself, you keep believing that you can do the things happen. We're just at the right time.
Absolutely.
That's what is my vision.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, Dom, thank you very, very much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you.
For me, talking about football, all this stuff, I will stay here for another 5 hours. Wow.
I'm with you on that. If only we didn't have to work tomorrow morning. That's the only
but say that for me, it was a pleasure, and I thanks to you guys to give me this opportunity, which is for me means a lot.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we wish you all the best for the rest of the year and the future going forward. And of course, we'll be in regular contact
Yeah.
And we really look forward to working together.
Yeah, I'm planning to come in Sydney in the next couple of weeks. So
wonderful. Well, we'll hopefully plan to catch up when you're in Sydney.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. With Engine. Yeah.
Wonderful.
All right, guys. So say hello to everyone who attended the seminar, and yeah, thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon.
Wonderful. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in to another Australian Football Services podcast. So stay tuned for the next few weeks. We're going to be having some more podcasts coming up. So if you like things like this, please feel free to share to your channels, and also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn as well. Until next time, guys, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you later.
Bye.